Welcome once again. Now in this video I'm going to go over this very quickly, but I think it's really important that we understand this if we are to continue moving forward, all right? And that's kind of this idea of negative equations, right? And I'll kind of get to that. Well, here I already went over this in my video, but I can't tell you enough how important it is to plug in these values in for x here, right? So I'll plug in -2 in for x, and we're going to get -2. And again, I think you've seen in the last video, this is just my parent function, and I like to go over it a lot so you always remember it. And if you ever forget, the only thing you got to remember is y equals x, and you can plug in the values and make your parent function. All right, and so here we go. Let's go ahead and draw our parent function. There it is. Okay, now I want to talk about this equation right here, y equals -x, and this is so important to kind of understand. I'm actually going to just color it in a different color. All right, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and I did that because I want to show you how important it is and how helpful it's going to be. All right, so what does this negative do? What does that change? What change does that make to our graph? Again, in this class, I'm going to hammer down the idea of the graphical and the analytical, the equation, so that you can really make sense of it, right? So let's take the -2 and plug it in here, right? And if we do that, we're going to get -2. We're going to plug that in, but there's a negative on the outside, so we get +2. Okay, take the -1, plug it in. We're going to get -1, and we get +1. Take 0 and plug it in, and we still get 0. Okay, now we take 1 and plug it in, and we're going to get -1, which is just going to become -1. And you'll notice I do that with 2, we're going to get -2. All right. Well, what do you notice? Just look at these y values. Look at these y values right here. And look at these y values. Okay. What do you notice is different between them? Well, you'll notice here we started out, we had -2, -1 over here. And now it became positive. Oop, I forgot my y variable there. Let me write that down. Y. Here it was 1 and 2, and now it became -1 and 2. So you see, we're taking our y values and we're essentially flipping the signs on them. That's what this negative does, is it switches, or I should say flips, sign on y values. Okay? So how does that look on the graph? Well, 0, 0 stays the same. But at 1 now it's -1, and at 2 it's -2. Over here at -1 it's +1, and at -2 it's +2. Okay, that line did not go through any of those points. There we go. Okay, so now you'll see, all right, this is my equation, y equals -x, and then this green one right here is, well, y is equal to x. So you'll notice the big difference between these two equations is that we have flipped our y values, and so basically it looks like the line is being reflected over, this is the x-axis, right? You'll notice we're just taking these values here and we're flipping it and putting it down below, taking it and flipping it. Here we're taking it and we're flipping it, taking it and we're flipping it up. Okay, so you'll always know when an equation has a -x because it's going to look like this. It's going to be in this direction. Okay, whereas your parent function always goes in this kind of direction, like that. All right. Okay, so that's just kind of a quick video. There's a lot to think about, but that's kind of an idea and premise of what this -x is. It just flips your line in the opposite direction, right? It takes these green values, the green values here, and just basically makes them negative, takes these green values and turns them positive. All right, hopefully that gives you an idea, and we're going to get some practice on that with